It's v.h.s.x. What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back. We got a brand new video for you guys today that was suggested by one of you guys in the Discord community, so shout out to Cozy for this suggestion. And this one's from Scott Jund, titled How Survivors React When You Actually Sweat Dead by Daylight. And I wanted to get my thoughts on it because obviously, you know, I've been on pretty much I think both sides of the spectrum when playing this game. Trying to play it casually, trying to basically win every game. I've kind of done it all I think at this point. Meme builds, whatever have you. And I want to get my thoughts, man. I want to hear about it because, you know, it really is like a flip of a coin when whether I agree or disagree with Scott in a lot of cases. His opinion tends to kind of shift drastically over the course of just a video. So like we're just trying to go off of, you know, what's being stated within the video, and that's why we show it here. And obviously it's linked in the description if you want to watch the full thing. Just going to cover a few talking points.
I tried to just do something different, just to switch it up how I normally play. And I decided to actually play super sweaty, like actually go for win streaks and stuff like that. Try to get the Wraith, you know, wins in a row world record, which is a terrible idea during this patch with fast track. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea, but I just want to do something different. So I gotta say, spoilers, I didn't get it. That's because I've only been doing this for one day and it's going to take weeks to even get to play the number of games required for that to even happen.
Yeah, that, and I would have to say that in combination with obviously the fast track thing being a thing. Obviously apparently it's going to be nerfed, or is being nerfed, or is nerfed, or whatever the hell at this point. But regardless, I mean, I don't know how well that's going to do, especially, you know, when it requires so much of you as a player to sweat this hard. It requires so much of you to play at that level where you can win at every game, especially when you are playing a character like Wraith, who does have limitations, despite them being, I think, one of the best M1 killers in the game. Keeping in mind that I mean M1 killer in the game. I gotta preface that. Because out of all the M1s, arguably I'd say Wraith is gonna be objectively the strongest one because of the stealth that doesn't have any weird prerequisite or something stupid with it, i.e. Ghostface is a perfect example of that, where it's like you just get looked at, oh, say goodbye to your power, goodbye. So his stealth is good, you know what I mean? He has a bonus for his anti-loop and stuff like that, barring the fact that if you're able to not only body block with your power, but also the fact that you are fast, so you can even use that to help you out. You also have the additional haste when uncloaking. So when you're uncloaking, you're already getting an additional bonus as well. So that can help you get hits. It's like a little mini coup de grace. So Wraith has a lot of things in his kit that help you out. And then obviously that's without add-ons even being in the conversation. Second you bring add-ons, it's a different conversation. I'm not even gonna get into the massive details of all of that. Ooh, you know, we're not gonna get into that. But obviously, just on paper. Anyway. So, like, with that obviously being said, if you're trying to win every game, like, you're gonna also have to be optimizing your build, optimizing your playstyle, optimizing these things in order for you to win even consistently, let alone to win in a streak. Especially, you know, obviously also taking into account the state of the game.
But I also didn't really enjoy myself that much, and I actually have a new sympathy for people that actually try to play like in streaks and stuff like that. Not much, but I do have like a little bit of a new shred of sympathy. And that's because when you play super sweaty, when you actually like giga tunnel every game and slug every game and like you go super, super hard. I mean, this happens. I take that deal. The no slowdown. Obviously, I mean, it's the DBD community, and when there's any hardship whatsoever, the default option is just immediately give up. So
Yeah, that pretty much boils down what I expect from the DBD community. They're very quick to hit the leave button, you know, the second that anything doesn't go their way. So that is not necessarily a response to just you playing sweaty in that case. It's literally just them being themselves. They're not in, like, I mean, these are the same community that's not interested in learning anything. It's not interested in practicing. It's not interested in doing research. It's not interested in countering anything. We've covered different videos that people talk about this stuff. And 9 times out of 10, they're the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, you're using an exploit because you're tunneling. Oh, I shouldn't have to learn how to counter you. I should be able to just shift W away. And it's like, okay, it's not fun to counter things. Like, everyone has to counter something.
I actually have like a tiny amount of new sympathy there because, man, it's got to be fucking boring. Because half of your games when you're doing a win streak are just free wins because the first person you tunnel instantly disconnects and then people just stop playing the game. Like,
I will say, like, my experience kind of differs. Like, when I have been playing to win, I don't usually get that. Me personally, it's my anecdotal experience. I don't really get that. When I'm playing to win, I'm usually facing people that also want to win, so they don't DC at all. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's a difference in MMR level. Maybe it's just a difference in character. You know, maybe people don't like Wraith or something, so they're like, oh, F Wraith, you know, whatever. Who knows, right? Obviously. But from my experience, I can't say that I've had that where they just DC all the time. I've had it just randomly, like where I'm just playing any other killers, but not my mains. I can't say that like I've had that on like that often with like Freddy or even Ghostface or anything like that. Even recently.
half of my games when I did this, I was bored within the first minute because the game was already over because someone gave up because I did legitimately tunnel them off the hook.
Now the other thing is that maybe the game is also just boring. So, you know, he stated a little bit earlier that he was playing other games like Cyberpunk and stuff like that because he just wanted to do something else because the game has any new content. The game is getting kind of boring. So that also could be a part of it. Like, you know, playing to win, especially if you don't have any desire to win in the first place, is going to be boring. You know what I mean? Especially when that's like your last resort and you have nothing else to do. And you already have no desire to win. Like you're not interested in trying to be like the best Wraith player or any motivation to try to be like the guy with the streak, the Wraith guy, blah, blah, blah. Then of course, I mean, you're just not going to have any motivation to want to do that. Like that's just inevitable.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I actually have a little bit of a little tiny bit, because I still think doing that shit in regular matches is massively overkill for the most part, but I do have a new, you know.
And keep in mind that I don't agree entirely with Scott in that sense, because obviously a lot of players on Survivor are also sweating too. So like to me, I don't think it's overkill. Unless you are on, say, Blight, pre-nerf Blight with 4 slowdowns, like okay, that's a little bit crazy. Like you don't need all of that. Like 1 or 2 is good. Like on Blight, he's fast enough. You can keep up. But like when it comes down to like the mid tiers, the low tiers, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's overkill at all. I think it's a requirement if you're deciding to play below Wraith level. You know, because Wraith to me is like the very middle of the road, best M1 you could play. In terms of the M1 category, that's pretty much your best bet. He's one of these best to do it because he has those little things in his kit that make him a step above, say, Ghostface, make him a step above Pig, make him a step above in that way. Because keep in mind, a lot of these M1s don't have any traversal, but Wraith does. He does just walk faster when he's in cloak. That stealth will allow you to get a lot closer than a lot of other characters, because a lot of people can just turn around and see you coming. Versus Wraith, where it's kind of like a little bit more transparent, so you kind of don't really notice that they're there until maybe it's a little bit too late. Obviously, he has the whole like bing bong nonsense, where he has to like, you know, make noise and stuff like that. But a lot of the time, you know, that's supplemented with the fact you have that speed bonus after uncloak. So he's a pretty good character. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like in comparison, if we're only taking into account just Wraith, then yeah, of course it might be, maybe it's a bit extra, but
a tiny bit of sympathy for killers that do try to do that stuff, because yeah, people give up just fucking immediately, like even more so than they normally do, which is already a pretty staggeringly high amount in regular DBD. So that was, you know, not particularly interesting. Now the match that I ended up losing was because I got 11 hooks, because I wasn't tunneling or anything like that, and it was against a very coordinated, what I assume was a 4-man on a newly buffed map with the whole pal density thing, so I struggled there. But I got 11, you know, I was basically en route to get 11 hooks. And
so basically, according to Scott, he said, oh, I was going in with the mentality that I'm going to sweat, and then proceeded to not even sweat in the first place. So, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I went in to win, but then I didn't play to win. I'm like, okay, well, okay, like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, like that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think if you're going in with the mentality, like, but rather, if you don't have the drive or any motivation to want to be this, like, have a goal for yourself, like I want to get the win streak for Wraith, or I want to be the best Wraith, or I want to be the Wraith guy, or whatever, then of course you're just not going to feel like sweating or trying to win. You know what I mean? That's just inevitable. You know what I mean? If you don't feel like doing something, you're not gonna put your all into that. Like, it's just not how it goes. You know what I mean? Like,
they didn't disconnect. And the funny part was, because I had nearly, you know, everybody on Death Hook, they said GG at the end of the game, because that's how it is. If you play for, you know, losing, basically, you get a nice hearty GG. If you play to actually win, you get people either not playing the game against you at all, or you get the infamous post-game chat where they bitch at you.
yeah, that's the second outcome is usually what I end up getting just for playing the game normally. I mean, my experience, I could play the game any way at all, and I'll still get somebody like complaining. So like at this point, it's just to be expected. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. I want to see if there's anything else he adds to this.
Now, I am sympathetic towards people if there is a power mismatch. Let me explain what that means. So, if I am playing like super sweaty, giga tunneling, super hard, and I'm going against babies or people that don't even have all their perks or whatever, they're just not very good at the game, and I see them complaining in post-game chat, I'm usually just going to go, that's fair, and move on. Like, I'm not even going to give them shit for it, because I understand what I'm doing to them is unfair. They are not really supposed to be even going against me. Matchmaking sucks. They have like a really shitty build, or they don't even have all their perks yet. Meanwhile, I'm playing like I'm in a tournament.
Yeah, that in itself is what I can understand, and I can agree with that. The problem is that a lot of people will take that and use that as their argument for everything in the game. And it's like, no, that's not reflective of every single player. That's not reflective of every single match. It's not reflective of everybody's MMR. That's just not a consistent 100% of the time a thing. And like I'm saying, even from my own experience, like I'm not always going against those kind of players that have like level 1 perks. Like I'm going against like 4 purple perked up meta builds, all like usually, right? I mean, you guys who watch the lives, you see it. Like we always look at the builds, and it's like it's always the same exact copy pasted builds. You always see the same perks. You know, the usual decisives, dead hard, shoulder the burdens. I mean, you name it, you know what I mean? It's there. So from my experience, like I'm not going against that. So my own experience, that I would disagree, right? Because that's how it goes, and that's why trying to figure out a middle ground with the DBD community with stuff like this is so difficult, because you don't exactly know what they're experiencing, and your experience can be wildly different. And because their experience is different, they automatically think you're wrong. And it's like, that's not always consistent. That's not always the case. Because I understand like where he's coming from. If he's facing that experience, that's what you're going to have, and that's what you're going to believe. But then I also can understand that I don't experience that, even though we're both playing the same freaking game. We're probably playing at different times, different time zone, could be different character, different players at the time of that match. Like it's so much nuance that goes into it. I understand why some people may try to use that as some kind of like argument, and the problem is it's flawed and it doesn't work. And that's not really a knock to Scott here at all. Like he's right with what he's saying. Like if there is a player that is inexperienced, they're gonna feel like they got cheated out of that, because like they just have a knowledge gap that they just don't know anything what they're doing. But at the same time, it's also expected. Like you're not gonna walk into a game and be an expert automatically. You're gonna have to lose a couple games. You're gonna probably get beat a lot depending on the game and your experience level with gaming in general, or even the game type, before you're actually gonna pick it up and be able to like start to rise and get up there. So, you know, that's just how I'm looking at it. I want to know what you guys think, of course, about the topic at hand today. And let me know. Hit the like button, hit the sub, man. And become a member on YouTube or Patreon. Got 2 options. Or you can even sub on Twitch to support the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's go ahead and read off these wonderful members. We got Patreon, Crow Vader. All my YouTube members, Brando, Evil Blade, Cap Courteous, WTF You're Not J-Lo, Evil Peach, Hargan Falcon, Dole Whip, Noxus, Zero Mocker, Jack, Christian, and Crow Vader. Really appreciate you guys supporting, man. And if you also subbed on Twitch, just know that you got love coming your way too. Appreciate you guys, man.